There is no phone ringing, damn it!
The last man on Earth lives in a fortress.
What day is it anyway? Monday? The hell it is. It's Sunday. Sunday I always dress for dinner. Discovered check. How does that grab you, Caesar?
The last man on Earth always carries an automatic weapon. The last man on Earth is hunting. Because the last man on Earth is not alone.
The mad bomber himself.
And I see you got a mad scientist.
You know me?
And about your work.
My work?
Incremental effects, countermeasures to toxic agents in liquid systems, delivery, microbiological letters, January 1975, remember?
You know what it means?
I was a med school senior when they scratched the world.
Family.
God, I forgot to keep the fuel up in the generator. They'll be into the garage!
Not the place where all the dead were burned. Get the switches! Get those lights up! He's gone! Find him! Find him!
Damn it! And step on it!
Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to another movie review. And this review is going to be on The O'Mega Man, released in 1971, and stars Charlton Heston, Anthony Zerbe, Rosalind Cash, and also Paul Koslo, Eric Laneuville, Lincoln Killpatrick, and Brian Tochi. And the film is based off of the Richard Matheson novel, I Am Legend, to which this is the second film, and you could say the I Am Legend, I guess you could say trilogy, because the first film was The Last Man on Earth, which starred Vincent Price, then it was this, and then I Am Legend with Will Smith, which I really enjoy. I Am Legend. Have not seen The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, but heard it's pretty good. But The O'Mega Man, really enjoyed this film, and Charlton Heston, was really good in the film as well. But basically what the film is about is there's this apocalyptic biological warfare that happens that destroys the human race, and Robert Neville, who is played by Charlton Heston, he is a scientist, and he is the only survivor of this apocalyptic biological warfare, and he is in LA that is very desolate because nobody's around because, of course, the apocalyptic biological warfare took out the humans, and we see him, driving around LA, and pretty much there are these victims, these cult-like victims, who were diseased by this apocalyptic biological warfare, and these victims have a name. It's a group, and it's called The Family, and pretty much they were turned into these nocturnal albino mutants, and they look like druids, and pretty much they want to hunt down and kill Charlton Heston's character. And pretty much the family blame science and technology for their condition, and Charlton Heston ends up using everything in an attempt to survive, and he finds out that later on he is not the only person left on Earth, where he ends up getting the help by this guy named Dutch, who was played by Paul Koslo, and Lisa, played by Rosalind Cash. And pretty much, Charlton Heston's character and Rosalind Cash, they end up, liking each other. And basically, Lisa is the love interest to Charlton Heston's character. And pretty much, it's Charlton Heston, trying to get this serum, to pretty much cure the people of this, disease, of this apocalyptic biological warfare that happened. But pretty much Charlton Heston has to, create the serum that, was created from his own blood to extend, his immunity to others. So, they could get cured of this, apocalyptic biological warfare, disease that, cause, the people to, perish. And, what we see with the family. But pretty much that's basically what the plot to the film is about. But Charlton Heston as Robert Neville, I thought he did a very good job. Very likable character where, he's just going around LA and hunting and killing down members of the family, of course, that want to kill him. And really like that, his character is a scientist. And Anthony Zerbe plays Jonathan Matheson. I think that's how you pronounce his character's last name, but he is the leader of the family, along with Zachary, played by Lincoln Killpatrick, which Lincoln Killpatrick, he is he's a very good actor. Sadly, he's no longer with us. And I watched a film, that he was in that I reviewed called Together Brothers, which if you haven't seen my review of that, definitely go check it out. Very underrated film that, I enjoyed. And pretty much, in that film, he plays a transgender African-American. And that was the first portrayal of a transgender African-American in a film, in that movie Together Brothers, where, his character, ends up playing. But I thought Lincoln Killpatrick was, good in this film. I liked seeing him on screen. Rosalind Cash, I thought, she did a very good job playing Lisa, the love interest to Charlton Heston's character. And, Charlton Heston's character ends up meeting her while Charlton Heston was in the department store, and, he's trying on clothes, and pretty much Rosalind Cash's character, Lisa, ends up playing statue. So pretty much Charlton Heston's character in that scene knows that he is not the last person on Earth. So he ends up chasing after her, and then they meet later on along with Dutch, played by Paul Koslo, which, he was entertained as well in his character, which they end up trying to help Charlton Heston's character. And we find out that, there are these kids that, that survived as well. And there's this one person named Richie, who's played by Eric Laneuville. I think that's how you pronounce his last name, who is very sick and has the same disease that the family ends up having. So we see Charlton Heston, doing everything he could to cure the disease. and it works on Richie. So we end up seeing all that. But very good movie. The O'Mega Man is, really enjoy it. I do like the scene where Charlton Heston and Rosalind Cash, they escape the family, which is in this arena, which is in I think they use the Civic Center, and they end up escaping out of there, and he ends up riding on the motorcycle, and then he does that stunt where the motorcycle ends up launching in the air and jumps over a car. I really liked that stunt. Very good stunt work there. The makeup on the family, I thought was cool. How they make them look like these, albino mutants, with, all ghostly white, and they wear like these contacts, and also they come out at dark, and when there's light or like sunlight, they are allergic to it. They're not vampires though, like what we see in I Am Legend. So, but overall, the O'Mega Man, very good movie. Really enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Some trivia here, where it says the film is different from the novel in several ways. In the novel, humanity is destroyed by a bacterial plague that was spread by bats and mosquitoes, and it turns the population into vampire-like creatures. Whereas in this film, biological warfare is the cause of the plague that kills most of the population, because they end up choking at first, and it turns most of the rest into the nocturnal albino mutants, which we see with the family. And Charlton Heston ended up saying that in his autobiography. He mentioned that the crucifixion scene with his character was not in the script, where the family ends up, taking him and putting him on, like a crucifix thing. And he ended up saying the scene was felt to fit quite well into the storyline, so they end up leaving it in. Charlton Heston's character's house, Neville's house, was on the back lot of the Warner Brothers Ranch, which sadly, was no longer there. And it was demolished in 2023 because the Warner Brothers Ranch, they redeveloped it. And the filmmakers needed to create a depopulated city. And what I liked here was that, this was way before CGI. They did this film, filming it in LA. They made LA depopulated, and it says it was accomplished by filming on Sunday mornings in the center of the LA business district, which in late 1970, when they filmed the movie, was quiet on early weekend mornings. So very good that they managed to capture that and make, LA very depopulated there. You could do that, without using CGI. And, it wasn't shot in a studio. It was all shot around LA, except for Charlton Heston's character's house, which was on the back lot of the Warner Brothers Ranch. So it says, despite careful planning by the film crew, some exterior shots captured bystanders and moving cars in the background of some scenes. There is a deleted scene, which I did not know about. It says, according to Wikipedia here, the script for the O'Mega Man contained a scene in which Lisa visits her parents' grave. Unknown to Neville, Lisa is pregnant, and she seeks comfort from her deceased parents before Neville and her leave the city forever. While Lisa is talking to her parents' grave, she hears a sound and investigates a crypt. In it, she spots a female family member depositing a dead newborn mutant. Lisa can see the mother's grief and empathizes with the woman's loss despite their being on different sides. Lisa believes that all children, including her unborn baby, will suffer the same fate. Later, she returns to Neville, Charlton Heston's character, and tells him of the woman in the crepe. Neville ends up asking Lisa if she took care of things. Lisa responded that since she may be a grieving parent in a few months, she will not kill a grief-stricken mother. Neville is shocked at first, but then embraces Lisa. While a scene was cut from the final film, the screen credit for Woman in Cemetery Crypt remains, which that deleted scene is not on the Blu-ray here. But the film had a budget of $4 million, and it grossed $29,000 in its first week. It went on to earn $4 million in theatrical rentals here in the U.S. and in Canada. So this is the Blu-ray here. It does have features. It has an introduction by co-stars Eric Laneuville and Paul Koslo, and screenwriter Joyce H. Corrington. Vintage featurette on The Last Man Alive, the O'Mega Man, and the theatrical trailer. So if you haven't seen the O'Mega Man, definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. But anyway, that's it for my review of the O'Mega Man. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoy this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until next video, I'll see you all later.